I go on my own, me, myself, and I in paradise. Young and free, we're alone, wait till the well is dry. I feel alive and I wonder if the feeling's right.
Hello everyone, this is your always tactful host, Pendy.
And this is Paul, also known as Eastx Twitch. You seem to be deep in thought. Is everything okay?
Oh yeah. I'm trying to study this spell book.
Really? What kind of spells are you looking at? Defensive, offensive, support spells?
Well, we have Maya and Tact now, and it has inspired me to study her spells, especially Puff.
You mean Puff Puff? You're a married man, sir.
No. Not Puff Puff, you master Roshi enthusiast. Get your mind out of the gutter. Maya's spell Puff that turns her into a dragon. Even Yvonne uses it near the beginning of the Adventure of Dai story.
So he does. And yeah, that's a very famous Dragon Quest spell. It's an ability that started in Dragon Quest 3, and in that game, you can even kill metal monsters with it.
That's right. I'm going to try it out for myself.
I don't know. With your usual lousy pronunciations of words, I don't think that's a good idea.
I doubt that will matter much. Here goes. Paff.
Uh-oh, that didn't sound right. Where'd you go?
I'm down here. Am I a dragon? What happened?
You're dragon, all right. Dragon close to the ground. You see, instead of a huge lumbering dragon, you've turned into a cute little mini dragon.
Oh no! This is terrible. I need to study how to reverse this. Here, hand me the book, but don't squish me, please.
Here you go, little guy. While Pendy researches how to reverse the effects of the spell, I'll take the opportunity to welcome our audience to Tactfully Dai, a Slime Time podcast spin-off that covers just about everything in the world of Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai, and the Dragon Quest Tact mobile game.
That's right. We'll talk about the latest and greatest with Dragon Quest Tact first.
Good. I'd love to talk some Tact.
Me too.
Me too. That's better. As mentioned in our opening, Maya is now intact as part of the big, true Dragon Quest IV event.
Yep, she was our first big banner unit of the event. How did your pulls go for her?
Very well. I decided to go big on that character. I have her at 3 hearts right now. It took a lot of pulls, but it's worth it. She's super fast, and her Puff, not Path, but her Puff transformation is amazing. She's currently an MVP for me in real-time arena, regular arena, and the single-player mega boss battle with Psaro the Manslayer. Did you get her at all?
I'm afraid I didn't get her, mostly because I was saving my gems for solo. Now, he's an MVP in the Mega Boss Battle for sure. The Mega Boss Battle comes in 2 forms. The first is a series of single-player battles against a giant monster Psaro that cost keys, which are randomly dropped from event levels, to participate in. How have you done with the single-player battles so far?
Oh man, I love this so much. Dragon Quest IV is one of my favorite DQ games of all time, and Psaro the Manslayer is one of my favorite characters of all time. I have cleared all of his levels now, and I'm repeating stage 20 for the Psaro the Manslayer coin rewards. How about you?
You got me beat. I've cleared stage 10, and I need to find the time to attempt the rest of them, because especially now that I've got solo, it should go a lot easier than it would have before. Not only do we have the regular Mega Boss Battle with Psaro the Manslayer, we also have the Guild Co-op Mega Boss Battle against the same guy. In the Guild Co-op battles, members of a guild take turns fighting the Mega Boss. This limited time battle is the first cooperative content in Tact.
I am so excited about this too. It's so fun. I even made up a spreadsheet to help coordinate everyone's attacks, thanks to your suggestion. All the guilds get ranked based off how much total damage they do to Psaro the Manslayer. As of the last reset, we were in 5th place among all the guilds, and we'll get a gem reward based on how well we placed.
Yep, and there's also a ranking of individual players within each guild. Right now, I'm in 11th place, and you're sitting in 9th place.
Yep, not to mention that with this event, with the co-op, we're getting lots of rewards for progressing through all the different battles over the course of the event, such as gold, gems, experience scrolls, the Zenithian sword, and eventually an iridescent orb.
Indeed. Gotta give me some of that. And don't think I forgot about your challenge from a few episodes ago.
That's right. If we don't beat Arena Watch and Big Draki Squad in the rankings, I will shave my head, as promised from before. Right now, we are ahead of the small Draki Squad and behind 1 place of the Arena Weenies.
Will Pendy join the Legion of the Bald? Can we conquer those jerks at AW and Big Draki Squad? Keep listening to our podcast to find out.
Now, we mentioned our first big banner unit, Maya, but we have also had Mina and Solo drop as well. Our guild solo pull party was quite a gathering on the night he dropped, though a lot of us were pretty sleepy at the time.
Yes, I was very sleepy.
I think most of us were.
Yeah, I inadvisably stayed up late for it. That's after getting up at like 4 a.m. that day. But anyway, I managed to get 2 solos from the paid pull. So that's only happened to me twice in the history of the game, so I was very thankful for it. Then I had to do 15 gem pulls to reach the pity reward for a second part, and then I used hero shards to get the third heart. I'd like to go for more, but I'm not sure if I want to do so now or in the weeks to come. Where are you with your solo pulls?
Oh, very nice. So I got him on the paid pull, and then I kept pulling to get him again in the single pulls. I struck out on the tickets, but I had shards that I used to get another heart, and then I saved up my rainbow coins and got that for yet another heart. So now I have him at 3 total hearts, and man, he is such a great character with everything he can do.
Yeah, not surprisingly, they made him the best character in the game. And just like with Erdrick, the previous best character, Solo gets an additional character builder tree to make him even stronger.
Indeed. And you know what else I was very excited for? The Psaro the Manslayer Blossom.
That is one incredible power boost from his Blossom.
Yeah, it is. I have him at 5 hearts, and his Blossom makes him damn near unstoppable. I am so glad he is such a viable character to use again.
Yep, similarly, I've got him at 5 hearts, and my blossoming's in progress. Have you blossomed your green Psaro yet?
Oh yeah, and he's almost ready for prime time. I really want to start using him in real-time arena soon.
He's a real pain in the real-time arena, doing massive damage in a wide radius and pulling units towards him. So how are you doing in the real-time arena now?
Oh, pretty well. I'm up to Master 3 at this point. This tournament is pretty much kind of set up to encourage speed teams, and I've taken advantage of that. I started with a team of Vera, Maya, Psaro, and Omega Weapon with all the best speed gear. It was very effective. Now I'm using Solo instead of Psaro, and I will swap out my Omega Weapon with Psaro the Manslayer, since Solo eats Omega Weapon for breakfast, pretty much, with his lightning attack. So how are you doing in RTA?
Yeah, well, I'm in the master tier. I made a big jump once I got Solo. At that point, if I went up against somebody who didn't have Solo, I was probably going to beat him. And like for a day or two, that's how it was, you know? So jumped me up to master, which is good. And now I'm running against people who have him in 5 hearts and all that. So much harder. But, you know, at least it felt good to be able to rise through the ranks without many obstructions for a little while.
Gotcha. And, you know, I also noticed this game has quite the pair now.
Excuse me?
You know, Balzaack. We have a pair of Balzaack.
That doesn't mean you need to go around bragging about it. But seriously, what are you talking about?
Balzaack and Balzaack, the 2 different evolved forms of the Dragon Quest IV antagonist that murdered Maya and Mina's father.
Oh, those 2 blue meanies. And their names sound the same, but there's an extra A in one of them.
Yes, and they are quite the pair. I also noticed you even put out a YouTube guide to do the EX version of both Balzaack fights. You are becoming quite the master of these guides. This is like your 4th video, I think?
Not to brag, but I'm up to 7 video guides for Tact now. 3 blossoming door guides and 4 event battle guides. I'm not great at inventing strategies wholesale, but in Tact you tend to have to modify other people's strategies based on what you actually have. So I make videos of that. They take a bit of time to record and edit, but I enjoy helping the community. Listeners can find my YouTube channel at youtube.com/@PaulAcevedo.
Man, that's great. I love the guides that I've seen so far that you've made.
Thank you.
There just aren't enough good English guides around. And, you know, on a side note, I also love that even Healy has joined as a character this time around.
He has. I thought it was strange that we got Ragnar last time, but not his boyfriend Healy.
That was an odd choice, but at least we have him now. I love that his story scenario was similar to the early events in Dragon Quest IV, in which you had to follow his directions to find him.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Before we close out Tact with our tip of the day, why don't you tell us about your overseas visitor?
Of course. Magellan, the Tact mascot slime, used his navigational skills to make his way to my home. I recently imported a plush Magellan. It's a pretty decent size, too. About the size of a volleyball.
That's rad. What about Mendini, the other mascot character?
Yeah, I don't think there's been a plush for her yet, but I'm on the lookout for when they do put one out.
Then I leave it in your capable and overly manicured hands. Now then, before we get into the die portion of the show, it's time for the Tact Tip of the Day.
Tip of the Day!
Did you know that besides the wonderful guides that I make, there are a plethora of wonderful Japanese guides to help clear the various battles in Tact?
That's right, tacticians. There is a centralized site that lists them all. Just type in dqtact.site/walkthrough to get there. Don't know Japanese? That's okay. They have pictures to help guide you to what parts of the game you are looking for.
Yeah, and there's no shortage of guides. Need help on the EX difficulty for the Maya boss level? There are 15 video guides on how to do it.
That's amazing. And that was our Tact Tip of the Day. Tip of the Day. Now let's get into some die.
Every week, we're going to review 2 episodes from the newest Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai anime.
We'll also get into other die-related news, such as the upcoming die console game, merchandise, and whatever else we find in the world of die.
Sadly, only one of us plays the mobile die game, and it will be done for good on April 26th, a few days from this recording.
Sadness. Well, our first episode is episode 33, Zabora's Scheme. Zabora and Hadlar try to take on Dai's party while they are recovering from their last fight with Baran. Will Zabora's sneaky scheme prevail?
Let me point out the Japanese pronunciation is Zaboera, and it's really hard hard for me to break from that.
Yes, and I don't blame you. If we go with both versions, it's whatever, because I'm just going with what the dub does.
Yeah, of course. There's nothing wrong with that. The one thing the dub has done is just come up with new pronunciations that basically ignore Japanese pronunciation rules. And that's frustrating sometimes because a lot of times the Japanese pronunciations just sound better and more closely match the spellings, like with Zabuera. But anyway, so we open this episode, 33, with an angry and desperate Hadlar demanding Zabuera gather the Mystic Legion to wipe out Dai and company.
Zabora objects, however, and points out that Hadlar's strategy failed before.
The Zabs then convinces Hadlar that an assassination tactic will be more effective at taking Dai out. Zabuera is such a jerk.
Yeah, he is. Dai and friends are in a cabin resting up from their fight from Baran at this point.
Yeah, following that fight, Pop is in the best condition out of everyone, so he decides to take up guard duty while his friends rest and recover.
While Pop is out shooting the breeze with Gome-chan, Mayam shows up.
Something seems to be wrong, though. Pop thinks it's weird that Mom would give up on her martial arts training to come and check on the party.
Merle is also eavesdropping nearby and senses something sinister about Mayam.
Merle confuses her suspicion for possible jealousy, though, and drops it.
As Pop tries to convince Mayam to meet the others, Mayam grabs Pop's hand and gets a little seductive. Ooh, baby.
Too hot for TV. It's a trap, though, of course. The imposter mom was Zabuera all along, disguised by a morph spell. He punctures the back of Pop's neck with his poisonous claws.
And this whole time, Zabora had been pumping the area full of his dark incense that puts everyone else to sleep.
For some reason, Pop has resistance to the dark incense.
Earlier, Pop mentioned he seems to have gotten new powers since being revived, which Yunkel thinks is related to the Dragon Knight blood that Pop ingested. As for me, I think getting stabbed in the neck definitely helped with that too.
Indeed, it's a dire situation. Just when Zabuera is about to go in for the killing blow on Pop, his arm gets burned by a spell from above.
It's none other than Matariv, the great sage and Pop's magic tutor, here to save the day.
Matariv lets off a sizzle spell at Hadlar and casts Squelch on Pop, though the Squelch isn't quite enough to fully cure the strong poison that Zabuera used on him.
Hadlar offsets the sizzle with his own spell and is shocked to see that Matariv can do 2 spells at once.
He's in for an even bigger shock when he sees that Matariv can also match his signature spell Kasiz, a spell he didn't think humans could cast.
Matariv is able to start pushing Hadlar back with his sizzle, but then Zabura adds his own spell to Hadlar's, turning the tide.
Pop calls out for Dai, who awakens and jumps in with his own Dragon Knight insignia boosted sizzle spell.
This blows away both Hadlar and Zabura.
We see that Zabuera barely survived with the aid of a zoom spell, and that Hadlar survived too, but it seems the lower half of his body was destroyed.
Hadlar ominously tells Zabura that he knows about his superior being research, and that it's now time to use it.
Yes, Hadlar realizes his current body is no match for Team Dai.
Back at the cabin, Matariv reveals that he was able to find the Book of Avon in the Carl Kingdom Library.
It's a handwritten book all about Avon's skills and spells.
Dai tries to read it, but we find out that he never learned to read much. He has Leona read the opening inspirational passage from the book.
Yeah, that reminds me of Goku from Dragon Ball Z, who's also not very well educated. Anyway, after reading, Leona decides that they should go back to Papnica, where she can do something more than just fighting.
Something only she can do that will help their quest against the Dark Army.
The episode ends with Dai giving one last look at the Tehran Kingdom as the party leaves it behind.
A fun episode overall. I really loved the dueling spell effects in this episode. It looked really good. It will be interesting to see what evolution Hadlar goes through next. At this point, it's kind of pretty sad how desperate he's become. What do you think of this episode, East X?
Well, my main reaction is that I'm glad the show resolved Zabuera's attack in just one episode rather than stretching it out to like 2 or 3. It's satisfying to have the whole thing happen right then and there, and then you move on to a whole different thing in the next episode. So that's good. And yeah, it's fun. And I feel, as always, I feel sorry for Merla since Pop doesn't seem to reciprocate her feelings.
Oh yeah, it's particularly bad in this episode. Poor Merla. And we'll see some more of that in the next episode too. He just doesn't get it.
That boy. And yeah, our next episode is episode 34, the Romos Martial Arts Tournament. In this one, Pop and Dai head off to a martial arts tourney to win a new weapon for Dai. Who will be the surprise guest that they encounter at the tournament?
This episode begins with the return of Leona, Dai, and the rest of the party to Papnica via hot air balloon.
Apollo the Sage greets them and begins to lecture Leona, but
Leona quickly cuts him off and orders him to invite representatives from all remaining major countries to a meeting.
You can tell she's further coming into her own as the leader of a country here.
Next, we see a mysterious figure practicing martial arts. Her master approaches and tells her it's time to test her skills at an upcoming martial arts tournament.
Then we flip to Pop being oblivious about Merla's affections before being interrupted by Dai's Zapple spell.
See, just what we were just talking about this.
Yep.
And it was so funny how you could see Matariv getting all all annoyed by it. He's like, oh, this boy just doesn't understand. But yes, Dai has learned to do the spell Zapple without an assist, and even without his Dragon Knight crest being powered on. Pop then asked Dai to show off the power of his Dragon Knight crest.
Go Dai. Before Dai can show off the crest power, though, Balzaack, the elderly Papnican knight, presents Dai with a treasure chest from Leona. She's giving Dai specially woven clothes, his new outfit, and another sword of Papnica.
Apparently, there are 3 swords of Papnica: the Sun Knife, the Wind Knife, and the Sea Knife.
Dai had the Sun Knife, but it was destroyed battling Baron.
The Sea Knife is MIA, so Dai is presented with the Wind Knife.
Yeah, and once Dai changes his clothes, Crocodile hurls 2 huge boulders into the air.
Dai charges up his crest, easily smashes them both, and then blocks Crocodine's Beast King Redemption Blast with his Draconic Aura.
However, this quickly drains Dai of his energy, and he comically falls to the ground, getting stuck in the sand.
Dai's friend discussed that his crest power has a limited time he can use it, and he doesn't have a weapon that can handle it right now.
And the time limit on Dai's power is a new plot contrivance that wasn't an issue during the fight with Baron. Anyway, Balzaack knows of a legendary weapon that might meet Dai's needs. It's the Sword of Champions, the first place prize for winning at the upcoming Romos Martial Arts Tournament.
King Romos is holding the tournament to gather more soldiers for the fight against the Dark Army.
Dai and Pop decide to enter the tournament and win the sword.
Meanwhile, Crocodile decides to stay in Papnica while Balzaack repairs his axe, and Hyunko goes off to train with a dark armor spear.
Back in Romos, Dai and Pop find out that they missed the registration time for the tournament and won't be allowed to participate. That's some bad luck.
Dai decides they should watch the tournament anyway, though Pop is less than enthused.
Yeah, but once he learns that a cute girl is fighting, Pop suddenly changes his mind.
Same old Pop.
Classic Pop. When the 2 heroes enter the arena, they see this cute girl kicking the ever-living crap out of a huge axe-wielding dude.
Her finishing move hilariously sends the big guy flying into the air, crushing Pop on the ground.
He did have it coming. And who is this cute butt-kicking girl? Is it Chun-Li?
Why, no, it's Mam, who has completed her class change into a martial artist.
Pop is understandably wary of the new Mam, having recently been tricked by a fake one.
He gets a little too close and gets a slap for his troubles.
Also, a kick to the head from a rat?
Yeah, we find out that Mam and this karate rat named Chu have been training under Grandmaster Brokina.
Chu was an evil rat that Brokina took in and trained. This led to Chu overcoming the Dark Lord's influence and learning to speak.
Dai and Pop catch Mam up on what has happened and explain why they need the sword.
In an interesting turn of events, Mom tells them that if she wins the tournament, she won't turn over the Sword of Champions to Dai. She wants no part of Dai killing his own father.
We end the episode with Chu facing off against another fighter in the tournament.
And learning someone else was behind the idea of the tournament. A character named Zamza, who doesn't seem like he has any evil intentions whatsoever.
Yes, no such thing. Nothing suspicious at all. Nothing to see here. Move along, everybody.
My first reaction is that it's good to have Mom back because she was away for several episodes. Chu and his rivalry with Pop are very fun. And this arc is a nice break after the more perilous Baron arc, although the stakes are going to increase pretty soon. Zamza, however, is too obviously evil. It's like, it just makes the King of Romos look like a schmuck for trusting him.
Oh, I know. He might as well have had a mustache and just sat there twirling it and laughing evilly. It was so
It's like Jafar from Aladdin.
Yeah. But as far as I thought with this episode, while this is more of a setup episode for this new mini arc that's coming, I did also love that they reintroduced Mam back to the fold. This form of Mam is one of my favorite characters in the show. The design is fantastic, and she's come a long way as a character to this point. The tenacity of Chu is fun too, and just like in this episode, he's going to play a good foil for Pop going forward, so it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, comedic characters are quite a lot of fun. Before we leave you all, we have a few more Dai-related updates. In fact, I think we have some breaking news coming in. This just in from the Dai Central News Agency. The what now? Oh, the DCNA, of course. What news do you have for us?
Infinity Strash for the PlayStation 4 and 5, Switch, and Steam will be released globally in fall 2023.
Sweet, at long last. They've narrowed the release down some. That's great. Less optimistically, I heard that a major producer on the game left the company.
Correct. Ryotaro Ichimura was known as the chief producer for the Dragon Quest series. He left the company at the end of March.
One of his last projects was acting as producer on Infinity Strash. He was quoted as saying, "Rest assured that I have already overseen it to near completion."
He was the producer on Dragon Quest 8, 9, Swords, and Heroes. Godspeed, Ryotaro Ichimura. This concludes our Dai Central News Agency report.
That was an exciting report. And yeah, the producer leaving is not a good sign, but it's not automatically a bad sign. So we just have to wait and see how things turn out.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree. I think since he was leaving at the tail end of the game and the way he quoted saying like, hey, don't worry, everybody, everything's going to be fine, probably left on good terms. So I think everything's going to be fine with the game.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Now then, I see that you're almost done with the Dai mobile game.
Indeed, I am. I got together with some wonderful folks from the Dragon's Den Discord, and we did one more run of multiplayer levels.
I remember you saying what you could do in multiplayer was limited, and sometimes you even needed tickets to do it.
That is true sometimes with the special events, but they do have this area called the Hall of Perdition where there are more multiplayer levels. There's not much, but there's some. The problem is that you have to beat some of the tougher single-player levels to unlock them, and thankfully I got my party strong enough that I was able to conquer most of them, so we got to do some multiplayer. Good.
I see. So you finally unlocked the extra multiplayer stuff.
I did, and it was a lot of fun doing that final run of multiplayer. Shout out to Silver Alpha Lion and Resident Dai Expert and Super Yvonne fan Esoterica for joining in on the fun with me.
Yes, thank you, Erotica, for all your help. Our last piece of Dai info is a juicy rumor.
Oh, it's juicy, all right.
Do tell.
I saw on one of the Dai Facebook groups that someone supposedly was in contact with the BBC. They told them that the dubbed episodes of Dai will play through episode 75 this spring and then through episode 100 in the summer. So we'll get another 25 in the spring and then the final 25 in the summer.
Ah, the BBC. That's where the dub first appeared, albeit in a censored format.
Correct. So if that holds to be true, we'll probably see the episodes premiere at the BBC iPlayer first, and then Hoopla, Vudu, and the Microsoft Store in America should follow.
Assuming this person isn't full of bean dip.
Right. This could be a my uncle works at Nintendo moment, but hopefully it proves to be true.
Many viewers have probably finished up the first batch of dubbed episodes by now, so the producers do need to hurry up with the next batch.
That they do.
That's all for this episode of Slime Time Tactfully Dai. If you want to prepare for the next episode, be sure to watch episodes 35 and 36 of The Adventure of Dai on Crunchyroll, the library app Hoopla, Vudu, or the Microsoft Store.
We don't use Patreon. If you do have any gold that is just completely strashing in your wallet, pouch, bottomless bag, treasure chest, pot, barrel, safe, or even searchable wall sack, and you would like to donate anything to a website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 25 years, stop by the Dragon's Den at woodus.com/den and click on support this site. Woodus has owned and maintained the Dragon's Den DQ fan site for decades. He personally edits every YouTube version of our podcast, and he fully appreciates any donations to keep the servers running.
The Dragon's Den website also features an Amazon affiliate link. If you click the link and then make a purchase, a small fraction of the sale will go to support the Den. It doesn't cost you anything, unlike a date with a vampire, which can get really dangerous.
We even have a Slime Time t-shirt you can buy by our resident artist Dwayne. See the link for it in the show notes. And as part of the Slime Time Extended Universe, or STU, you can direct comments or questions for the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slime Time.
And you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/EastXTwitch. Come watch me play a variety of games every Saturday, kids. Getting back to Dragon Quest, consider joining in tons of Dragon Quest discussions at the Dragon's Den forums, the only forum where you won't get slapped for asking for a puff puff. Find it from the Dragon's Den main page or at woodus.com/forums. You can also find us and other rabid Dragon Quest fans through the Dragon Questers, Dragon Quest Tact Global, and Infinity Strash Facebook groups. We'd love to see you there.
Or come hang out with us and tons of other hardcore Dragon Quest fans on the officially unofficial Dragon's Den Discord server.
We'd like to thank everyone that made this possible, including Pendy, Woodus, the Dragon's Den, and the Enterprise D, the sexiest of next-generation starships.
Oh, baby, make it so. And a special thanks to Platty for helping me out with our rotating podcast logo.
Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast. A good one.
For more Dragon Quest Slime Time, check out our library of episodes on Dragon's Den, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, YouTube, and more.
We'll catch you later, everybody. Don't hate, appreciate.
Time to zoom on out of here.
Lately days are getting dark before you've had a chance. But remind yourself the truth can be a never-ending task. Even now, with what we've got, how far can we go until it's gone? Sometimes I swear I hear a voice, look, no one's in the other room. All alone I thought I had an angel, someone keeping an eye on me. Even love will turn to
This is Goochtrude for Slime Time, reminding you all that you must complete your adventure.